government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is already Tuesday, the 26th day of February, 2008. We're going to be live here for the next 3 hours. And guess who we have joining us today? Eva Orner. Just a couple nights ago, she got the Academy Award for Best Documentary, 2008, Taxi to the Dark Side, about rendition, secret arrest, and the torture camps. And in my goings and comings and travels, Eva Orner called me, I guess, about 8 months ago and came with a documentary film crew, the same folks that made a lot of famous films. And they came here to town. They made Brothers Keeper and Metallica, Some Kind of Monster, and Paradise Lost. She came here with Joe Bellinger, the famous filmmaker, and interviewed me for some upcoming work they're doing. And I got a chance to talk to her about how they were finishing up Taxi to the Dark Side. And it beat Michael Moore's Sicko for the 2008 Best Documentary. And it's pretty hardcore. Frankly, it could have been even more hardcore, but it's a lot of great research, amazing. They were in Afghanistan, Iraq, you name it. A lot of stuff I had never seen, photos and videos of torture I had never seen, and then disgusting interviews with John Yoo and others, and some of the torture guards. So she's going to be popping in later in the show to talk about the Academy Award. She is the producer.
American values are premised upon the notion of human dignity.
We don't know what revenge is coming down the road.
There will be no outrages upon human dignity. It's very vague.
Taxi to the Dark Side, taken from Chaney, talking about we're in the dark side now. Eva Orner, congratulations. I'm really honored to count you as a friend. You're an amazing filmmaker.
Thanks, Alex. It's lovely to be on your show as a guest. And, yeah, it's been a pretty great week so far. What can I say?
What was it like to be, I mean, we're going to talk about the film, of course, but to be nominated and then to win when they said Eva Orner and Taxi to the Dark Side?
You know, it was really great. We were so hoping we were going to win because it's such an important film, and you know, all of the documentary nominees this year, the 5 films, 4 of them were war-related films. You know, there was a film about Iraq, No End in Sight. There was Operation Homecoming about the soldiers, and it was a great acknowledgement from the Academy that something is wrong with this country. And the Academy is a very conservative force, so it was really a great vindication and validation of all of our work. We were concerned that because of all the films, ours is the darkest. It's about torture. It's incredibly critical of the administration. It features waterboarding. It features so many difficult subjects. And we were a little nervous that maybe it was too dark for the Academy, but we really wanted to win. And also, you know, I must talk about Alex Gibney, who's the writer, director, producer. I'm the producer of the film. And, you know, he's been making films for a long time. He made Enron, Smartest Guys in the Room. He was nominated for another Oscar a couple of years ago. And we're so thrilled because he's so deserving. He's one of the best filmmakers working in the country today. And it was great vindication and validation, and, you know, it was really fun.
Well, you've done an incredible job as the producer, the head honcho over the whole deal, and I'm just blessed and lucky to have ever even bumped into you, even because you're so smart and such a sweet person. You also have the clip. We had Professor Castle on a few years ago when this first came out. You know, the clip where John Yoo writes in these memos about crushing children's testicles in front of their parents, and then Professor Castle at a closed CFR meeting, even the CFR's mad at him in Chicago. You're not supposed to record it, but Castle did. He had to get this out. And Yoo just says, yeah, the president has that authority. I mean, you know, immersing yourself in this film, you guys started working on this film back when it still wasn't kosher to get into this type of topic back when the regime was still riding high to a certain extent. So tell us about the process of deciding to make this film, when it began, all of these locations. I mean, it's such an incredible film, getting to interview some of the guards that did the torture, people who were convicted and sent to jail, but you have the memos and documents where they were ordered to do it. I mean, just basically the process, Eva.
Sure. I mean, the film started, we finished the film about a year ago, and it's been on the festival circuit for the year, and it obviously has just been released. But, we started making it a year and a half ago before that. So it's really a 2.5-year process. And the film came out of some conversations with Alex Gibney, the director, and a couple of extraordinary people who became executive producers and actually put a lot of money into the film when no one else would. And it came out of a conversation about what is going on in this country. Things are being reported in the New York Times and the Washington Post. Why aren't people in the streets? Why aren't people screaming? The rule of law is being broken. There is no regard for habeas corpus. The Geneva Conventions are being disregarded, and it was just this conversation that was just about rage, and it was a conversation involving patriotic Americans who were so disturbed by what was happening to their country. And, people have branded the film anti-American, and it's the complete opposite. It's about the preservation of what made America great and what America should be. So, a couple of the executive producers, one was Rob Johnson, who used to be a right-hand man of George Soros. Another one was Don Glasscock, who's an incredible human rights attorney. Sidney Blumenthal, who was one of Bill Clinton's policy advisors in the Clinton administration. These people all came forward early on, and they put their money where their mouths were and really helped us out because we were having trouble getting distributors to put money up on the film. Alex's previous film was incredibly successful, Enron, as I said, and a lot of people were saying, is this really the follow-up film you want to make to Enron? This could be a really big mistake. It could be career damaging. And, kudos to Alex for having the unbelievable courage, tenacity, and dogged determination to say, I have to make this film. We have to make this film. So that was the sort of the genesis of the film. And then from there, we gathered, as you know with documentaries, we gathered a small and very hard-working crew of people. We had one researcher, we had another producer. It was a team of like 6 people, and it was really about getting access, getting information, using a lot of archival material, which is hard to source, and really convincing people to talk on this film and to be a part of this film. So that was the initial process.
Did you, of course you learned a lot making the film. Did you ever get really creeped out?
Yeah. It was, I think we all say often, it was really, it was the hardest film I think any of us have ever made. The material's grueling. You know what it's like when you're in an edit suite looking at the horrible material. We got a lot of classified photographs that nobody had seen before from Abu Ghraib. The thing that I find the most disturbing in the film is actually there's just some cell phone video from inside the prisons of prisoners smashing their heads against walls and collapsing. And it's just so brutal and so inhumane and unhuman. It's just, it's hard to be around that kind of material all the time. One of the, it sounds so silly, but one of the saving graces of us making this film and keeping our sanity was we were making another film at the same time, which was a lot lighter in subject. It just premiered at Sundance in competition, and it's about Hunter S. Thompson, the great writer. And, we were able to sort of bounce between the projects a little bit because, a year and a half being immersed in torture and your failing country is very hard to take.
You bring away from the film with the eyewitnesses, the documents, the death certificates, that the White House with the memos, the orders, the systematic, whether it was in Cuba or Iraq, at Guantanamo Bay where our government has a base, or in Afghanistan, that it was all the same standard torture, the same sensory deprivation, hanging people from the tops of their cells for days on end. All of this, beating people till they're, according to coroner's reports, liquefied the tissue in their bodies, literally turning them into Jell-O. And then to have the White House send people to prison who they ordered to do this, but then that was enlisted people, but promote the individuals, the officers who were actually above it, and the one lady who ran it in Iraq and Afghanistan, they send her to the interrogation training base, and now she's overtraining. I mean, this.
Yeah.
I mean, to know that the White House ordered all this, and then when they got caught, they said, "Oh no, we're not behind this." And of course, you also point out how 24 has created a constituency for torture, how they're brainwashing. Can you talk about that?